Hey folks, today I wanted to kind of delve in to the topic of intuitive eating. So today I will be kind of reviewing and reacting to a video by Kati Morton, and her YouTube profile says on her about page that she is a licensed therapist and she tries to help people through her YouTube videos. So I kind of relate to that. I try and help people with the ketogenic diet. If you don't know, I lost 170 pounds using a ketogenic diet, and I just try and give people the free information that I wish I had had all throughout my life as I tried to lose weight. So I have dabbled in intuitive eating. I've mentioned it a couple times in some of my videos, but I never really did some research, and apparently there are books out there and actual ways to approach intuitive eating that I just never bothered with. But I am kind of curious what it's all about, because if you watched my last video, it was kind of a downer. Like once or twice a month, I get a little down about how things are with my body. But I did mention in that video that I do track all of my food, and I don't think I could have lost weight without tracking my food. And honestly, I'm kind of afraid to stop tracking my food because I'm afraid of gaining weight. But I am curious about the whole topic of intuitive eating, so let's just jump into this video by Kati Morton.
Now, I've talked about intuitive eating over the years because it's really the goal of any eating disorder recovery, is to do what essentially we as children do without even thinking about it. We're intuitive. We eat when we're hungry, we stop when we're full, we crave different foods, and we eat those foods without any judgment.
Okay, so yes, those are skills I do not have, right? If left to my own devices, I eat until I can't really eat anymore. That's my full feeling. You know, I don't just stop when I'm satisfied, because satisfied for me is feeling super bloated and stuffed and everything. I do restrict. I eat very low carb with high protein and moderate fat for my ketogenic, kind of weight loss / maintenance mode right now. The only times that I guess I really eat intuitively right now is on the weekends when I go out to eat. I'm not logging everything unless I can try and figure it out. Usually though, I don't try and log if I go out for Mexican food and I get fajitas. I don't know what's really in it. Oils, butter, seasonings, who knows? I do my best.
That's the goal, right? But before I get into what intuitive eating is and how we can get into it, I want you to first know that this isn't something that can be done when we're in eating disorder recovery right away. This is something that we do towards the end, when we're almost fully recovered, potentially feeling fully recovered, because it's so difficult for us to do when that eating disorder voice is still in our head, jibber-jabbering away in the back of our head, telling us we're hungry when we're not, or we're full when we're not, or we need to exercise more. If we don't have a clear head that is completely rid itself of that eating disorder voice, we cannot intuitively eat.
So she keeps mentioning here eating disorder, and yeah, I think especially when I was overweight that I had a binge, eating issue. I don't know if I would call it a disorder. I'm kind of self-diagnosing. I know you're not really supposed to do that, but I never really went to go seek help with it from a professional or anything. And now that I've lost weight and I've been trying to maintain, I think I have some issues with body image, definitely, but who doesn't really, Most of the time I keep the body image issues under control, except for last week. But now I do wonder if I'm kind of obsessive about the foods that I eat. I'm happy eating the foods I eat. I love the foods that I eat. They're tasty to me. I think that the foods that I eat are satisfying. But I do wonder if I'll ever be able to, give up control of logging and measuring. I don't know. It's not that I hate doing it. I just wonder if it's something that's going to be a part of my life forever. Would that be the worst thing? Probably not. There are lots of other worse things in the world. Just my thoughts.
So I just want you to know that first of all, it's really important that this is something that we only enter into once we're pretty much fully recovered. Just know that intuitive eating isn't for everyone. So wait until your therapist and dietitian tell you it's good to go and you can get into it. But let's start off by just talking about some of the principles of intuitive eating so you can understand overall what it is. And the first principle, stop dieting. Or more importantly, stop the diet mentality.
Stop the diet mentality. That just makes you want to freak out a little bit. I don't know. I got to my goal weight because I was serious about committing to a diet, to a lifestyle, to a change, That scares me, honestly, because I don't want to go back to where I was. No, don't want to do that.
First of all, it's terrible and everybody hates it, let's just be honest. But also dieting is very black and white. It's all or nothing. I'm either following it perfectly or, oh my God, I'm off the rails. My life is over. I'm not even following it at all. And so we do this almost restrict binge cycle. We're essentially setting ourselves up for failure and telling ourselves to ignore what our body says.
Okay, so I've mentioned a lot that for my maintenance, I'm super strict Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday, those 4 or 5 days when I'm like working and I'm not going out to eat or anything. But then the weekends I do let loose. So maybe I won't even measure when I'm at home on the weekend, or I go out to eat, once or twice on the weekend. I'm not measuring there. So it almost does feel like I'm in this cycle of gaining 5 pounds over the weekend and then losing it throughout the week. But that's been maintenance for me. And it's kept me pretty much at my goal weight. So, I don't know if that's an issue or not, but it's been working for me for years now, since 2017.
Because the thing that's like, we just have to be reminded all the time, all of us do, essentially, because I feel like most of media tells us to buy into this diet mentality. We have to remind ourselves that our body asks for what it wants. The reason we're craving something is because we need something that's in that. It might not be like the quote-unquote healthiest option, but our body is telling us, and we need to sit down, shut up, and listen.
Okay, now, one time when I was overweight, years ago, I remember I craved cereal so bad, and I had bowls and bowls of cereal, lots of milk. And then I was wondering, was my body craving some sort of calcium? I don't know. Is that what she's talking about here? Because I've wondered that if your body is craving something, it'll tell you to eat. A lot of times I think especially because of keto, I feel like my electrolytes are off. And so I think that I'm hungry, but really I just want to get some salts in. I don't know. That's kind of like how I think.
And the second principle, honor your hunger and fullness cues. And this kind of rolls off of stop with the diet mentality, because we have to sit down, shut up, and listen. Our body tells us when it's hungry. It tells us when it's full. And if we actually take a beat and listen to it, we won't have such a hard time following it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the opposite. I have to tell my body that I'm full. I have to literally, I have my notes sitting around, I have them on my phone. I have them on a little pad of paper in the living room. And it's like, chill out, Allie, drink some water, think about your goals, think about your weight. Like, I have to tell my body that it's full, because it's like I'm just never satisfied. That's just, it sucks. I don't know if that'll ever change. Maybe intuitive eating will help.
So take the time to check in. When I used to work in the inpatient treatment facility for eating disorders, at the beginning of a meal, before we'd even eat anything, we had everybody check in. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hungry are you, or how full are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing emotionally? 10 is like, I'm about to tear my hair out. 0 is like, I'm asleep. So checking in with that before, in the middle, and at the end of each meal will ensure that you're actually listening to what your body's telling you.
That's really interesting. I've never thought about checking in mentally. Yeah, of course, I always try and ask myself, am I actually hungry? How hungry am I? Is it mealtime, or is it like a little tiny snack time to get me to mealtime? I do try and do that. It doesn't happen all the time. What else? But checking in mentally, I sometimes, rarely, I do say I'm just frustrated. I want to go get some Halo Top, but no, you're just sad. Sometimes I do. But throughout the meal and at the end of the meal, yeah, once again, I have to tell myself that I have eaten a good portion of food. And although I feel like I want more, that's a fake feeling.
And of course, the emotional component, that other 0 to 10 scale, can really affect our hunger fullness. But we just need to recognize how it does that and how we can combat that, and force ourselves to be more mindful, listen to our bodies, and pay attention to what it says, because it's kind of important.
And going off of that, I'm an emotional eater. So I'm super excited to cook and sit down and eat my meal, and just enjoy it. And then I notice halfway through my meal, I start to get sad because it's about to end, and I'm not going to have any more food left to eat. So I get very emotional about food. So maybe it would be a good idea just to check in, at the beginning of my meal, in the middle, and at the end. I'm sure that would help. Yeah.
And the third principle, make peace with food. Stop fighting it. And yes, my mind did just go to a cartoon of me kicking a carrot in the butt and then slicing it a ho-ho. But you have to stop fighting food. It's not out to get you. It's not a good or a bad thing. Food is just energy to allow you to do what you need to do every day. And the sooner we stop fighting back against it and being angry at it and hating it and loving it, the sooner we'll be able to control the restrict binge urge and the eating disorder voice. By making peace with food, we give ourselves permission to eat whatever we want without any regret or guilt. You hear that? I know that's really hard to accept, but when we make peace with food, there aren't any good or bad foods. It's all just energy that we need, and our body will crave what it needs at different times. Like there are certain times when I really just want ice cream. And there's other times when I really just want a crunchy salad, and I really want protein. My body tells me what it wants, and the sooner I stop fighting against the food and saying, well, even though it wants that, I can't have it, that's a bad type of food, the sooner I can really listen and I can intuitively eat.
Oh, I don't know how I feel. I have some emotions about this. I feel like for me, is it possible? I don't know. I don't hate food. I do get angry at myself when I crave it, even though I've just eaten, or I start to overeat, or I don't know. It's just it's such a struggle. It's not that I love food itself. It's that I love the way food makes me feel. It tastes good. It like warms my belly. It makes me have these sensations of being satisfied and safe and comforted. And I don't know. So I understand that it's not my issues with the actual food. It's my reaction to the food, which actually is something I haven't really looked at before. Maybe because I've said in other videos I love food. I'm a food addict. Maybe I crave comfort. Interesting. I need to look at some things. This video has given me lots of perspectives, so thank you, Miss Morton.
And also by having foods that are good and bad, it leads us to binge eating, because once we've quote unquote fallen off the rocker, if we're in that black and white diet mentality, we're just gonna binge on the bad food, right? We're gonna overeat on that one item that we feel like we should never have. But if we aren't fighting with food, if we believe all foods have a role in our life, then we're less likely to overeat a certain item once we've given ourselves permission to eat it. And sure, when you first go into intuitive eating, I find my patients kind of struggle with a little bit of feeling like they binge, but when we talk about it and we're working to make peace with food, the guilt and the shame that their eating disorder has tried to give them their whole life, that diet mentality, this bad food, the less and less we start to feel that, and the more we're able to control the fact that we can eat all foods when we're hungry and stop when we're full, and that binge restrict cycle becomes less and less.
So with keto, yeah, a lot of foods are no-goes. You know, it's all carbs, you know, pasta, potatoes, sweets, everything like that. I don't really miss those foods. I mean, sometimes I see a picture on Pinterest of like a really pretty spring pasta, and I think that that would taste so good, but I really don't miss foods. The foods I crave are like Halo Top ice cream or peanut butter, and I cannot control myself around those foods. So sometimes I go months without having them. You know, I went a whole year without having any keto-friendly sweet treats. I went 2 years without any diet soda. Now I'm back on the diet soda this summer. I don't know, just feeling like incorporating it, I guess. So I fluctuate until it becomes a problem. So once I see that, oh, I just binged on a whole entire can of peanut butter, I just ate 3,000 calories as my dessert, then I realize, okay, we're gonna put that on the shelf for a while and we'll come back to it maybe in the future. I can have it again for a few months. That's been my cycle with, you know, love-hate relationships with food.
And the fourth principle of intuitive eating, start loving your body. It's hard. I know. I'm not immune from it either, but everyone's body is different. I'm never going to look like Gigi Hadid. First of all, I'm a lot shorter, and also my legs are extremely muscular for some reason. Thanks, Dad.
Oh my gosh, she's my sister. Okay, I'm tall, but I have fat girl calves, and for some reason, no matter what exercise I do, my quads take over. There's no way I can work out my glutes. I have one exercise that reliably I can feel it in my glutes. Everything else gets taken in by the quads. I understand you, girl. And it sucks because you want to have this ideal body that you see on Instagram and TikTok and, you know, Facebook and all everywhere, TV. And, you know, my last video, I got emotional because I'm not where I want to be. You know, I have this image of myself where everything would just look great and I'm not there, and I've been working so hard. Whatever, I'm not gonna linger on the bad stuff. And it's true, you can't linger, you know. I think I've been lingering a lot this summer because I'm a teacher, so I haven't really been working except for on these videos. So I try and keep my mind busy. It's like, you know, distracting myself from food. I have to distract myself from my body image issues, like I distract myself from wanting to binge all the time.
My body's not like your body's not like mine, but we need to appreciate them for what they are. And the sooner we stop fighting against them and being an enemy of our own body, the sooner we'll be able to eat when we're hungry and stop when we're full. And so starting to love your body is all part of the intuitive eating principles. And the fifth and final principle that we're going to talk about today, but there are a lot more when it comes to intuitive eating, that's why I recommend getting the workbook, is to take care of yourself. We're all going to crave different foods at different times. But in order to live a happy, healthy life, we're going to need to incorporate a bunch of different types of foods and have a very balanced diet. So just make sure that you're incorporating a lot of different things. You're listening to your body when it tells you it needs something, and you're getting regular checkups by your doctor. And I know that that just sounds silly to add this in, but it's just really important because getting a yearly physical is key to making sure that we're not anemic. Maybe we need more iron in our diet. Maybe we need more potassium. It's really important that we know those things because there are a lot of parts of different types of food that we're going to need to help our body function at its best. So just make sure you're putting in the time, you're listening to your body, and you're taking care of yourself so that we can keep doing what we need to do each and every day.
So yes, when I got my big girl job, I realized that every time I have to go to the doctor, I have to spend about $300 for some reason. I don't know what insurance is for. If somebody could please explain that to me. Why am I paying insurance and still paying $300, you know, every time I go? That'd be great. Please let me know why that's happening. But I did enjoy this video. I think that she helped me kind of change my perspective about the things that I've been struggling with, body image, you know, my relationship with food. I don't know if I'm ready to start intuitive eating. It is something I want to look more into. So if you'd like to know more, let me know if you'd like to see more reaction videos to this topic or any other topic that you're interested in. But that's about it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Allie, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.